Hey guys, Stephen here, Straight Talk Ministries, coming at you Monday night, kind of late. The reason for that is I have been working on a couple of different projects, but sorry, I'm trying my best to get this phone in a position where it'll do something right. So what I want to talk about today is yesterday in church we had a very passionate story about a man who is 45 years old and struggling because of the abuse he watched his mom go through when he was a kid. And it still haunts him today. He's full of anger, full of, just hatred and stuff like that because the abuse was coming from his father, and his father was a minister. So that just goes to show that nobody's exempt. No matter what your lifestyle's like. We all know that there's a lot of people that act one way, in front of everybody in that church, and then when the doors get closed, they act a different way. But what I really want to talk to you about is, my life was, growing up was kind of rough. It itself with physical abuse and verbal abuse, and my wife the same way. Kelly was the same way. A lot of physical, a lot of verbal abuse in her family. So it's nothing that we're not aware of or we've not been a part of. I think the difference between me and her and other family members and other people in life is we just deal with it differently. We've chose to not let it have a stronghold on our life. It's not like it was never there. It was there. We just choose to not let it run our lives. We choose to not let it, run, act, judge the way we act every day and our attitudes and the way we treat people. If nothing else, I mean, people that, have to deal with stuff like that, we should treat people better. Because, we've seen what treating people like crap firsthand, looks like. With that being said, I just want to, throw this little short video out there and just let everybody know that, look, man, you can't let what's happened in your life or what's happening in your life keep you from what's important, keep your focus from what's important in life. Your family, your God first, your family, your job. You can't let it have such a stronghold on you that it runs every second of every day of your life. And I know because I've let things like that bother me my whole life, and now it's just completely different since I've chosen. I choose joy every day instead of negative stuff. So it just really broke my heart hearing that story, and seeing the passion on the man that was telling it, the friend of mine that was telling it. But anyway, with that being said, 2 Corinthians 10:4 says, "The weapons we fight with are not weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds." What I think Paul is saying in that is, weapons that are used in war are not the weapons that we fight with, because we're fighting spiritual warfare. We have to fight with prayer. We have to fight with scripture. We have to lean on people that we know are godly people and going to lead us in the right direction. Those are the weapons we have to fight these strongholds with. Furthermore, Ephesians 5:21 says, "Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ." And I'm giving you these two verses from Ephesians based on the way we should treat one another. If Ephesians 5:21 says, hold on a minute, I'm trying to get the explanation for it. Give me 1 second. Submit to one another. 5:21. Here we go. So Paul, what? And I ain't got this memorized, so I got to read it from the Bible. So, of course, y'all just gonna have to deal with it because I love you. Bam, gotcha. Let's see. So what Paul is telling us is that the home should be a place where love and mutual submission are exhibited. Husbands and wives need to show love to each other and be sensitive to each other's needs. As they do this, they reflect the loving relationship that God has established between Christ and the Christian community. The painful consequences of our sinful patterns are most deeply felt by our close family members. I think that's true. When I was growing up and my parents were fighting and, this and that, and even as me and my wife were dating and, her family was, kind of doing the same thing, it was like, I was watching my own life and her life just intermingle with each other, and it was just a constant battle of fighting and arguing and drinking and alcohol and just everything that could drag us down. But we chose not to let it. It did for a while, but we chose not to let it. Ephesians 6:4 says, "Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord." Now, I think where we're getting at there is that, Paul's directing both parents and children to show love toward one another. Too many times children, kids grow up and they start getting a little bit of age on them and they think they know it all just like we did. We ain't no different than what they are. And then a lot of times, the parents, it's partly our own fault because we spoil them rotten and give them everything they want and give them all the tools to be the way they are. So we got a lot of responsibility in that. But it says children are to show due respect to their parents. The widespread disrespect shown towards parents today leads to deep emotional scars both in parents and children. Paul also warned parents to treat their children with love and respect. I can't say it no plainer than that. We as parents often, sometimes we get a little carried away and our kids, do something that we don't like or don't do something that we've asked them to do, and we tend to, be disrespectful to them, and the whole time we're trying to teach them to be respectful. I'm talking, mainly to myself because, this is straight talk, so we're gonna get straight for a little bit. I'm the first one to try to, if my kid does something that I'm supposed to do, I'm the first one to try to knock them down. Or, if I want them to do something they don't do, I'm the first one to try to knock them down. That's not the way it should be. We should try to come to a conclusion without all the drama and all the other stuff. I love my kids dearly. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for them. But sometimes I just get so frustrated, that I say things sometimes I don't really mean, and I do things sometimes I don't really mean. We all do. But that don't mean none of us has a right to put our hands on anybody, even with our spouses. Yeah, my wife makes me mad sometimes, but I love her. I've never put my hands on her. I never will put my hands on her. Same goes for her. There's abuse in opposite ways. That was my family. Unfortunately, my mom was the abusive one. So don't if you're dealing with things from your past, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can go on our website and request some information, and you can email me, you can call me, you can reach out to me on any social media. It makes no difference. But there's always somebody that's been through what you're going through. It seems like you're the only person and you're alone in everything, but you're not. But the bottom line is there's no stronghold, there's no pain, there's no memories, there's 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 nothing that God can't get you through. Jesus shed his blood so that we could have a life. And we shouldn't have to live every day and dream about this stuff and be angry about this stuff and things like that. I mean, and most of the time we're talking about stuff that's happened years ago. As we get older and as we mature into adults. So let's try to focus this week on not living in the past and living in the future. The future's bright for all of us if we just accept it. All we got to do is accept God's love. He loves us regardless. We just got to accept it. We got to welcome it in. And I promise you with all my heart that if you welcome God into your heart and you welcome and you live by and you try to live daily, by through love and reading scripture and listening to song and stuff like that, I promise you that your life will be better. I promise you that all that stuff in the past, it'll be in the past, and you'll forgive and you'll move on with your life and you'll feel better about yourself. You don't have to live in the past. You don't have to live there. We all deserve a chance to live a joyful and happy life. That will never happen if we continue to live in the past and we continue to live without Jesus in our lives. That's just as straight as it can get. Till next week, give somebody a hug, tell them you love them.